Call the order.
Gotta get hot? Okay.
We got to get hot. Call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do our roll call here. Mr. Beasold,
Present.
Kelly Stroming,
Present.
Erica Hill, absent. Carl Madsen, absent. Robert Godoy, Joe Barry,
Present.
and myself, I'm present, so thank you very much. Well, tonight we have a special guest here, Mr. Terpstra from Culver's. And Fred, you know everybody here. So what I'd like to do is have you give the board members, they probably a lot of them know, but maybe what your background was, and then talk about your building process with the town, and then how it was working with the town, and if there's things that they can improve on, and frustrations or great things that they did, we want to hear it all. So, but I'm thrilled you're here, and first of all, I'm glad you're here and you're come through your health
I don't know
issues.
if
So
everybody, should I speak?
it's
into-
live there. Yeah, you can pull it forward. Yeah, that microphone.
I don't know if everybody knows,
Can you help them out, Jay?
yeah, I got it here.
Okay.
There you
So
go.
if everybody knows, what date was that, Kimmy? July 12th, I had quadruple bypass surgery, open heart surgery, and I was out of my house for 44 days. So it's taken longer to rehab than it was supposed to a little bit. We had some complications and stuff, but I'm glad to be here. John and I had hooked this thing up before I went in the hospital a couple times, and then he texted me, how about this Wednesday night? And I said, no, that ain't gonna work, so here I am.
Great.
We're building our 6 Culvers in Hammond right now, by Cabela's over there and Walmart. I had looked in St. John since 2014 to put a restaurant in downtown, well, whatever your downtown was at that time, And I just couldn't find a spot. There wasn't a lot of action, a lot of small type stores and a couple restaurants, but 2014 I started with Steve Kyle, right?
Kill. Yeah.
Steve Kill, and he was pretty good with me, we spent hours together riding up and down the 41 Boulevard, and trying to do something with some land, and we talked Schillings, Dick Schilling and those guys down there, and couldn't find anything down there, and if you'll notice, where all my Culvers are, where all my restaurants are, they're all in the center of town, right? And that's because we want to be a big part of the community. We want to give away money, right? Last year, between our 4 restaurants, not this one, that way, I guess, not to St. John, but last year we gave away about $105,000 with our 4 restaurants. And that includes, obviously, sports teams, high school sports teams, but also the arts, right? The school plays, the kids playing in the band, marching bands, churches for their Awana clubs, and they need a special thing. It doesn't matter if they're Christian in their faith, Reformed in their faith. or Catholic. I should mention in the Catholic part, I'm a Christian. You know, I go to Bethel Church in Crown Point on Broadway. And while I was in the hospital, I had talked to a family 2 years about sending their daughter to Ileana Christian. They live in East Chicago, you know, and we have a brand new school there, and it's really nice. And I talked to the daughter a little bit. Her name was Lydia, right? So I got a text while I was in the hospital from Lydia, and she said, Fred, she says, Thursday night we're going to say a mass for you, right? And we're not going to mention your last name, just your first name. So I guess I'm in with the Catholics now too, you know? And I find those to be good people too. So, but so I looked for since 2014 with Steve Kell, you know, and we were up and down, and I had Craig Culver out here, you know. We looked at a couple different sites in Munster and Hammond, and we did another one in, we looked at Cherville. We purchased Cherville, you know. That was an existing restaurant, but Craig and I, we just couldn't find a good spot, you know. And then the community hospital came, you know, and that was good. And then we thought a good place would be across the boulevard next to the bank, Midwest Bank, you know. But, you know, that it still wasn't in the middle of town, you know, in the middle of the city of St. John. So, so I was just out one night and looking around, and I had a tape measure with me, you know, and I thought, well, I wonder how many square feet are in the property to the south of whatever bank I'm next to there. What is that?
Thank you.
Fifth Third?
Yeah, Fifth Third Bank. If I went, so I measured going across, and then I measured going down, you know, to the south, and there was about an acre, I thought. And we need minimum of an acre, you know, and then Target came in, you know, and that was nice. And then, you know, we had Strachan and Tills came in, that was nice. So I knew a guy in, how are you? Good. I knew a guy in Indianapolis that was the real estate guy for Target. And Target owned that property. And so I didn't know anybody, but I took off for Indianapolis one morning and talked to him. And he said, well, he says, you know, we have outlots all over the country. So he said, this is going to take a while, just to let you know. And I said, that's fine. This is worth waiting for, right? So got with him, and then I hired my son as my attorney, you know. And the purchase price for that was the purchase contract for that was 85 pages. Right, so I paid my son, I think it was over $85,000 on that, just on that project, you know. So my daughter said, well, at least you're giving it to your son. I said, well, I guess so, you know. So anyway, so we got that property from 2014 to 2020, right? So it's a great location. We give away a lot of money there. So now that leads us to how'd I get along with the town board and the plan commission, right? You got to go through the plan commission first, and then they beat you up a little bit, and then if they okay it, normally the town okays it, you know. So it was pretty easy, actually. We had the town board then is not the same, or the plan, what you guys, the plan commission or the town board's not the same now as it was then, right?
Right. That's
Right?
correct. It's different now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different now. So I dealt with different guys back then, you know. And was the plan commission changed too, or no?
Some new members there too.
Yeah, all right. So We had to get through 17 things that they didn't want on our culvers, 17 variances. And by the time the 3 hours was done, we got them all.
Good.
But it was difficult, they wanted us to have a sidewalk on 41. The bank doesn't have a sidewalk. That vacant lot of Target doesn't have a sidewalk. So it would be a sidewalk going to nowhere, right? Plus, the end of the sidewalk would have a drop to it, so you're at a liability for people walking on there, or roller skating or whatever. So that was just one of the ones that I thought were kind of nitpicky, about that stuff. We had a lot of the guys over to one of my restaurants because they weren't sure they wanted a Culver's restaurant over there or anywhere in town,
Sure.
at that time. So we went, I had them over to the restaurant, a few of those guys, and oh yeah, this is cool, and I gave them about every food item on the menu, I just kept it coming and kept it coming, and then I had it, then all the custard, and well, what kind do you want? Well, can I have more than one? Oh yeah, today you can, and so.
Kind of
So
kept
I think
growing,
a
huh?
lot- I think some of those guys still come to my restaurant over there, so.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, we did it, and the plan commission wasn't a big problem. I mean, it took us a while to explain what we wanted and how we wanted to do things. The survey and a CAD survey goes up to Culver's first in Wisconsin for an okay, right? I liked the property and I liked the site and I liked that Target was right behind us. We had a constant feed of guests, and Strachan Mattel's, but if they say no,
It's no.
yeah, it's no. There's no about it.
Does
It's-
Craig Culver decide that?
Oh, yeah.
Or his team?
Oh, yeah. He was out here. He sends a team of like 5 people out here.
Okay.
He was out here one time. But, yeah, five team members came out and they walked the whole property and took pictures, and put a thing across the road to get a car count. They wanted to know that. And so the guys that came out here said, yeah, it'll work if it's okayed by Steve Hartle. He's the guy that okays all real estate, and then he's also the guy that draws the picture, draws the store on the survey, right? So we sent him up everything, and he made a couple light changes to what I thought, and it went through. It went through with the front of the store, front of the restaurant, facing St. John. Now that was a sticking point with the Plan Commission because they thought that the front of the restaurant should face the front of Target and the front of Strachan Mattel's, and they call that the marketplace. You guys all know that, right? So it all goes, everybody faces this way, but I wanted it facing Route 41 because there's 68,000 cars a day going by there, and that's like having a billboard, right? So I didn't want it this way. I mean, the back of my restaurant is 100 times nicer than the back of Target or the back of Strax, right? They got stuff laying around, and the back of my restaurant is our drive-through, right? So we fought them on that, and finally we got that through on that variance to let us have it. But see, you can't throw 68,000 cars a day and just throw it away, right? We have an electronic board that we can put some community stuff on there as well as our stuff, our specials and things like that. And the back of our restaurant is the drive-through, right? So I'm the only restaurant in the nation that has, when you go through my drive-through, you will take your order, right? Take your order, and then you come up and pay. And then there's 5 lanes where you can park, all stacked along front, right? All in a row, just like Crown Point, just like Schererville. And I did that in Schererville, in Crown Point. I did that in Crown Point because we had the property. We had 2 acres, and we still fitted on 1 acre here. I had 2 acres in Schererville. I got 2 acres in Highland, or not. I have 1.25 acres in Highland. It didn't work out there. Crown Point, I had 2 acres, and it worked out fine. So, but when you do that, when you have those cars all in a line right here instead of all backed up here, everybody mentally thinks that they're the next guest to get their food, right? They're all number one. There's no cars in front of them. Mentally, they think, oh yeah, I'm next, you know. So that worked out well. We fought them on that, and finally they gave us on that. And when I had them drive over to Crown Point, then they understood. They understood what that looks like. We put through about 115 cars an hour through that.
Oh, my.
Yeah, oh my. So it's really, really busy. You got to have everything inside the restaurant rolling the right way, all the kids, all the adults in the right spots. Culver's calls that the aces in their places, right? The best people in the right spots.
What does Craig Culver say? Is that a normal 115 cars an hour, or are you the exception?
No, we're in the top, probably in the top 15% of the country in sales for
Yeah.
us. All of our restaurants.
Yeah.
Now, if you do $2 million, that's pretty good, but we're quite a ways ahead of that. And yeah, Craig loves it, right? So in Crown Point was the first restaurant I did that with. He comes over for the grand opening. He was mad, you know. He comes over to me. He says, "Hey, get over here."
Uh-oh.
Right. So I go to him. He's going right out that. I knew what he was doing. He was going right out that foyer, right out to the drive-through, you know. And he gets me out there, and he says, "What do you call this?" And I told him all about it, how we were going to do it, you know. And
Yeah.
and I'm known as the renegade of Culver. I do a lot of different things that now other people do too. So anyway,
They're gonna do that on other restaurants.
Oh,
I
they
bet
do.
you they do.
so Craig said, "I'm going to be back in 30 days. This better be gone." I says, "Well, just watch my numbers and watch my figures, and then call me in 30 days. You'll be calling me in 30 days instead of making the trip, right?" So, when he comes out, he flies his jet over Lake Michigan, and he'll call me and he'll say, "Hey, Fred, I'm over Lake Michigan. Can you pick me up in Gary?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I'll get you." And he says to me on his phone, he says, "Is it safe in Gary?" And I said, no way. You can't be in Gary, especially that airport's a hot spot." So he says, "Well, what should we do?" I says, "I'll call you back." So I called my buddy that ran that airport, and I said, I got Culver's guys coming in. Can they come in right by that outside fence, and I'll go right through the fence and pick them up? And he says, yeah. He says, "I'll fix that up for you." So I called Craig back, told him where to go, and he was waiting for me when I got there, you know. And I parked my truck right there. Down went the steps. I never seen Craig run so far down those steps so fast to get in my car, you know. Or, "Let's get out of here," he says, you know. So that was a side. But when he got there again in 30 days, he loved it, and our numbers were fast. 2 minutes and 42 seconds once we once we give you your change, 2 minutes and 42 seconds, we normally get a car. That's pretty much in the top 20% of the nation. So we get you in, get you out. And going through the plan commission, we fought for it, but the guys were understanding,
You found the town very receptive to what you wanted to do, though, and
Yeah,
just had to show them.
once I got them to another restaurant, they were all in,
Yeah,
right? None of these guys from St. John, they must think this is Roseland. They never traveled to another town to go to a restaurant, So, yeah, once I had them in there, I had them, right? I gave them all the good food, beef sandwiches,
sure,
Butterburgers,
yeah.
everything. Then I went to the town board, and that was more of a welcoming to the community, those guys. The one thing that we couldn't get from the St. John is we couldn't get any money to help us build that, right? And I think that's a sticking point with you guys too. After, John and I talked at length about that. I mean,
I was told that businesses are going to come anyway, so whether we come or not.
I know, but
know.
like we're getting a lot of money in Hammond, we're getting
Yeah.
a lot of money in Highland.
So do you think, Fred, that in this process and somewhere, if there was some sort of assistance for businesses coming into town, provided by the TIF district, maybe you could get a little something on that?
Well, the TIF district in St. John, they gave that all to Bruce Boyer. I mean,
Yeah.
it's no secret. I'm not
Yeah,
bringing out something that's supposed to be on the hush hush, right?
right,
I mean, and then, so when I went, there was nothing left.
yeah,
Now, and, I would say bringing in a big hitter like Bruce Boyer is probably worthwhile, giving him some TIF money, but I would only give him the TIF money after all his lots are filled. Right, he's got a Wendy's there, he's got a bank there, and he's got a car wash, right? Car wash is right on 41. I don't know why he didn't do that, going east and west instead of north and south, to have all that frontage taken up by a car wash. I have no idea, but
yeah.
that's the way it was. But, yeah, they find ways, towns find ways. They don't have any TIF money for me either in Hammond, but they have some other ways to give me money,
And you still donate to the community, so that's,
Oh, yeah,
so thank you.
we give a lot of money away. And you know what? The more money I gave away, the more business I do,
There you go.
right? And that's the way it is. I mean, even I don't know if you guys go to church or not, but, we go to church regularly before I had all this happen to me, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, that it's just great to give things away, and the people are happy, and, families have burned their house down, some in their house went down in flames, we helped them. All kinds of stuff. My daughter takes care of all that, she's in community affairs, but Shayna, I think, did you deal with Shayna a little bit, John? Do you know Shayna? You know Shayna, my daughter?
Yes,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, but John and I go back a long ways, because I started my business career in downtown Highland with my dad. He had a clothing store called Highland Department Store. John had a furniture store in Lansing, DeYoung's Furniture. I remember, right?
Right.
So John's family bought clothes from me, and I bought a lot of furniture from John. So that kind of did that. But then in 1992, my dad sold Highland Department Store, and I didn't, clear out of the blue, I didn't know he was going to do that. I thought I would sell clothes till I was 80. I mean, it was 85,000 square feet in downtown Highland, and I thought I would be selling clothes till I was 80, and it didn't work out that way. On a dollar days, you had that in Lansing, right? Dollar days, we would do 150,000, 200,000 on that week. You know, that was big money for us, right, John? And so I was on my own, right? So I liked all the action that I found out later. I liked all the action at Highland Department Store, and I loved all the customers that we had there. They all knew me by name, and so what was I going to do, right? So I went right to a car wash. I built a car wash on 41 and Hart Road in Highland. Was the first $1 million car wash in Indiana, and the price got up because I put a jet engine in there to dry all the cars. I didn't want all my labor out there drying cars. When they came out, they were completely dry, you know. And then I sold that. I didn't like that because, you know, all the rain and bad weather here. So I sold that to Turtle Wax, you know, and made some money on that. And then I did two quick oil change stores like Jiffy Lubes, and I did that, right? I didn't know anything about car washes. I didn't know anything about changing oil on a car.
What about Culver's? What did you know about them?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. And so I hired guys to do that. You know, I hired guys that knew how to change oil. I knew how to guys run a car wash. So I did that, and then after that, I still, you know, I missed all the action with Highland Department Store, you know. And so I bought 500 portable toilets, and I started renting those out. Now that was a crappy business, right? You had to remember three things to be successful in the toilet business. Poop goes down, stink goes up, and payday's Friday. That's all you got to remember, you know, and you'll be successful doing that, right? But we were successful. There was only two toilet guys. It was me and Service Sanitation, right? They were big. So I called up Cooper, who was a friend of mine, and I said, hey, I'm getting in the same business you are. I just want to let you know is that if you say no, that's going to take away some business from you, I won't, because you're a friend of mine. No, he says, you go right ahead. He said, how many toilets you going to have? I said, I got 500. He says, no, that's not going to bother me. I said, how many you got? He said, I got 8,000. So he says, if you don't like it, call me. I'll buy it off you. $1,000 for every toilet you had on rent. That's what he paid me. I had 400 toilets on rent. He gave me $400,000. So then we were at Balmoral Park at 4 in the morning. It was just getting light out on a Sunday morning, 85 degrees, about July 20. Hot, we're all sweaty. You know, we had to service 100 units. Me and my two kids were all sweaty. I had somebody else with us, all sweaty and hot. And I told my kids, I said, listen, I don't like this anymore. I said, I got to get into something else. And we didn't, nobody said nothing. My youngest daughter said, well, Dad, you did everything else. Why don't you get in the restaurant business?
Uh-oh, here we go.
And that's
Then
how
it started.
That's how it started. With my youngest daughter, who's very, very instrumental in my business now. You know, she joined. 3 of my kids joined my business.
And you got your family in it.
I do. I got
wife is
John
support,
Ryan's
yeah.
my lawyer, and he works for
Yeah.
us. And Nicole's there. She was an All-American
Yep.
pitcher. You remember her, John? And
Well, on behalf of this board, I want to thank you for being in town because
Yeah.
you brought a nice business to our community.
yeah,
And I know a lot of folks will hear this or watch the tape and get some good tips on how to do it from Fred. So,
Yeah.
but we appreciate you coming here.
yeah. Thanks.
And
Thanks for
I
having
don't-
me.
Does anybody have any questions for Fred?
Anybody want to get in the Butterburger business?
How many businesses have you been in?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before Culver's.
The first one you said was your father's business, you started with him with clothing.
No, he was in Normandy in World War II, and he came out of the out of World War II in Europe, and then one of his army buddies and him started Highland Department Store in 1946, and then I joined them like in 1969. So, yeah, it seemed like that was a great age, wasn't it, those guys? All those guys are successful at one thing or another, it seems like, right? So, yeah, so if you don't have any more questions, you have a video, you said?
What's that now?
You got a video? You don't have a video, do you?
On what?
Yeah,
It's
anything, right?
broadcasted live.
The meeting's recorded.
This here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you can
Good.
watch our
Yeah.
meetings are open to the public. So,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, they're taping this now. So
Good.
yeah.
Good.
So
I'm glad you invited me, John. It's been a pleasure.
well, we're glad to have you, and I wanted Chris to meet you. He's our town manager here, and
know
Mr.
Chris.
Aurelio that just came in here. He's one of our town council members. So,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm so grateful you came, but most of all, we're glad you're healthy. So
Yeah. Well, I'm
we're glad you came through that whole deal. So
Yeah, I'm glad you had your patience with me, tonight.
well, we're thrilled to have you. So
Thanks.
thank you very much.
We taking off, honey?
We're taking off. We'll
Okay.
just let them do the business.
All right, yep,
All right.
all right. So while I'm banged up, she's my chief and captain, see?
And you better listen to her.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
drive.
been a kind of a change in our relationship here. I can tell him what to do, and he does it.
And he says, "Okay."
Nice, yeah.
Good luck with that,
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, I know. A lot more than that. All right, you ready?
Yeah, hold it.
Yeah.
If you want, I can help you out this back door and then you can pull around to the
Okay,
back and he'll go back.
Sure. See, it doesn't matter what we tell him.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Well, that was pretty informative. I kind of get an insight on what his career was, and so I appreciate the indulgence from the committee here.
Extremely interesting. I love hearing, stories like that. People tell you how they've done things, how many things they've done. I always want to sit and listen.
Highland Department Store
It's a
was
journey.
huge.
Yes.
It's a journey, yeah, and
It was
you're right,
huge for
85,000
Highland,
square
yeah.
feet.
It was a very big and very popular business for a number of years.
All right, we have new old business, and tonight I would like Rob to report on the meeting we had with a restaurant and kind of inform the members here. We don't want to say any names, but
Yeah, a few of us,
anyway, if you could report on that, I'd appreciate that.
absolutely. A few of us went out and met with a restaurant in Illinois. They have 2 locations now. They're looking to move into Indiana. They see a lot of positives in the moving out of Illinois and in Indiana. Not necessarily moving out of Illinois, but opening up also in Indiana. And it's not a chain restaurant. It's a close family establishment, and it's a high-end Italian restaurant. And they would be bringing that into St. John, provided that all the moon lines up with the planets and everything works out for financing and for property.
Sure.
But it's very appealing. It'll be a great add to the community. It's a wonderful restaurant. I've already been out there 2 more times since our
Oh,
meeting.
my goodness.
Yeah, you were sold.
Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent place. So, looking forward to hopefully getting them in here soon.
Yeah. And to that point about the semantics that go on with that, Chris, could you talk about the Riverwalk update on what the process will be before it's approved by the town and attorneys, so we can have an idea when we would be able to talk about it, maybe the first of the year or something.
Yeah, so myself, or the town attorney, and the director of building and planning had a conversation with Barnes and Thornburg, which is a large law firm out of Indianapolis that the town has had a contract with for quite some time about this particular issue. We were double checking with them as to whether or not we can do the 1,500 feet or the 3,000 feet from the river, the river itself. They are going to be double checking with ATF to make sure that we can do the 3,000 feet. If we cannot, there will likely not be a need to amend the TIF district because there would not be any properties that we would probably seek to include in the TIF district that are within the 1,500 feet of the riverfront area, as the map kind of shows. If we can do 3,000 feet, we would probably want to amend the TIF district to include some properties. Most notably would be the Kmart property. That would delay the timeline because amending the TIF district would add a couple more months to the process. If we do not or cannot include the 3,000 foot radius, we don't need to amend the TIF district, and then it's a process of the town council identifying and adopting by ordinance the riverfront development district, and then forwarding that onto the state for the ATF.
Good.
So I would expect probably sometime by first quarter next year we should have, if not finished, the ball rolling and getting closer to completion.
But that will get us, with this process, if somebody came to us today, they couldn't do anything until the second quarter of next year anyway, just with everything that has to be done now, right? With,
That's probably about ballpark correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then building, and that could take a while. And then has anybody from the town talked to any of the individual property owners that possibly would work with us on selling to some of these?
I can't
Possible
speak for
restaurants?
the council members, but I have talked to at least one of the possible developers. Slight interest.
Okay.
This particular one was more interested in getting a road constructed. So take a guess as to where that is.
Yep.
But otherwise, no, we have not talked to all of the property. There was a large amount of, well, no, I take that back. 2 developers. And then the second set of developers are still drafting their own plans as to what they would like to see done with their properties. But they did take it under advisement and have it as a possible addition to anything that they may want to do.
All right. So I was approached by another restaurant, and they want to have a meeting in the next 30 to 60 days anyway. So when that comes to fruition, then we'll try to set something up maybe in your office and, see kind of what their thoughts and plans are for the town. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then also to that point, the SBA has their 504 rates came out here for September, and 25 years is for commercial 2.977, and then if somebody's going to do a refi, they got 3.019 for 25 years and 20 years, and so there's some good rates right now yet. Do you see that changing?
Depends. That's really more of, it depends on the climate, the political climate, the next
Yep.
3 quarters, what the Fed does, where building materials and supply chain are, will all play a factor in how people move or how people want to move.
Okay.
And that'll also play a factor in the rate. So that they're probably not going to go down.
Okay.
So now is a really good time to get in if you want to get in.
Right. And the last thing I have is with the Riverwalk update, this process probably will be then first or second quarter of next year, you would imagine then, right? Yep. All
Hopefully,
right.
and it-
And then,
Will be a fairly painless process for anybody that's applying for it within the development district. I imagine the town council will want to amend into their ordinance as part of this, that they get first approval, and then if they give their blessing, it would go to the ATF, and then the ATF gives
Got it.
their blessing,
Got it.
yay or nay.
all right,
So there will only be one additional hurdle as compared to a regular, traditional, population-based liquor license.
and did we, one final thing is, did we get any facade applications in or not?
So we've not got any facade grant applications in. Myself and IT Director Jason were talking just before this meeting, and we're going to make sure that we have that application on our website, so that way you or anybody can be easily directed to the website to pull the application to fill out and submit to the town, to make
Very
it as
good.
easy as possible.
Very good.
But it was approved by the redevelopment commission, so it is an active program through the town now.
Very good. So, all right, that's about all I have for tonight. Any final comments, Kelly
No?
and Joe?
No.
Rob?
Nope.
Mr. Dave?
Nope.
I would like a motion to adjourn.